Hello. Hello, my friends out there. It's Rebecca here, and I hope you're doing well. I'm probably a lot like you, perhaps waiting for some sort of normalcy in life, waiting to get back to the routine, right? Well, here we are. It's been an interesting couple of months, and I hope that you are well, and that part of your wellness is due to how you are taking care of yourself. That's a thing that's easily forgotten in our culture. And my name is Rebecca, if we haven't met yet, and I'm one of the yoga instructors and meditation teachers at the Baltimore Country Club. And today is the second part of a series. That's my dog Baron. He usually comes and joins me when I give these chats. But I put together a short series for our Wellness Wednesdays that are really about self-care. They really are about taking a moment and really thinking about how we're caring for ourselves every day, but certainly during these times, it's more important than ever. So this is a 4-part series. Last Wednesday, the title of the talk was called Shift, and we talked about this shift in awareness, and that if we're not able to go outside into our normal lives and routines and jobs and whatever it is we do out in the world, then we shift our awareness to inside. And we talked about how journaling is one way of being introspective, and different ways to really sort of go inside and contemplate more. So meditation being one of those, and then of course the attitude of gratitude, and making sure that throughout this difficult time that we don't forget that there's always, always, always something to be grateful for. So today is number 2 in this series of 4 Wellness Wednesdays, and today's topic is digestion and food. So, interesting way of taking care of ourselves, because we have to do it, right? It's not something we can choose to do, whether we choose to eat or not. We must eat to stay alive and be healthy in these human bodies. And from a yogi perspective, from a meditation perspective, food is a wonderful tool in staying aware and being present in our decisions, because we have to be with food at certain points throughout our day, right? We wake up, we're thirsty, we're hungry. We go through these routines, and food is a part of these routines. So every time that we are in contact with food, it can be a time of meditation in an external way, right? Really being present in our choices and how we're eating, who we're eating with, how we feel before and after we eat. So it's really a time of awareness throughout our day. So how are we nurturing our bodies is really kind of the main question of what I wanted to talk about today, because again, it's obviously very important for our health. But oftentimes we get in routines or just old habits that we lose sight of. We lose awareness of them, and we don't realize that we're even doing them. So I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a health food advisor or anything like that. I do know a lot about healthy eating, and I try to practice it myself. So I'm just making suggestions today, and I'm hoping that from listening to this talk that you have a gem or two to take away, just to kind of rethink about. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I haven't thought about that in a while. So here's an interesting fact. Each year, Americans spend $260 billion on cosmetics, on hair products, on makeup, skin products, lots and lots and lots of things to make us look younger. Maybe it's even paying real close attention to our fashion and our clothes. But the point is, we spend a lot of time in American culture trying to look young. And, because of course, from the time we're born, we're given that message culturally that we need to stay looking healthy and fit and young. So there's lots of companies out there that are happy to sell you their products, so you feel like when you put them on that you look better. But looking young and looking healthy is really about what we're doing on the inside of our body, not on the outside of our body. So it's a different way to think about it. So if we can mindfully fill the insides of our bodies with high quality food, the outside will shine beautifully on its own. So I want you to take a moment here and just think generally, how has my diet been? What have I been putting in my food? How much time have I been preparing my food? How much time and energy and thought am I really paying attention to my diet? Now, I've heard different things from different people. Some people are spending a lot more time with food since they've been home because they have more time, right? They don't have to be rushing around and trying to make healthy meals or running in and out of the grocery store. They're spending more time thinking about making homemade foods or baking or doing things they usually don't have time to do. And then other people have said to me that food has just turned into this real, support, you could say, for them, that they're using food as a support during this time. And whatever works is whatever works right now, right? I mean, I don't think that this is time to put any sort of high standards on ourselves. I think that this is a time in our life that we need to be incredibly gentle with ourselves and kind, but aware. So that's really the first question, is how do you think you've been doing with your diet, with what you're putting in your body? So let's think about what is high quality food. It's kind of a silly question when you think about asking yourself that, because we automatically sort of go to these pictures and thoughts in our minds. But again, we get a lot of external advertising telling us what's healthy. So if we're not aware, we can get pulled into that. Basically, one easy way to remember it is, does it have a shelf life, right? If it's something that you can buy and put in your pantry and eat 3 months later, it's not a high quality food. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't ever eat that. Of course, some of us do, and that's fine. But we want our day-to-day diet to be composed of mostly fresh foods that have a shelf life, that if you don't eat them right away, they're spoiled, because those are the ones that are going to be highest in nutrients. And they come from some sort of natural source, an animal, a plant, a bean. So keep that in mind. Just asking yourself, what kind of quality of food am I putting in? And then if you can use the acronym CRAP, C-R-A-P, that can be helpful as well. So a processed food is crap. And why is it crap? Because it falls under one of these 4 categories, okay, that we're going to review. So let's look at the letter C in the word crap. Carbonated beverages. That's an example of a processed food. In my opinion, take it or leave it, that's something that you should just completely wipe off of your grocery list. They're expensive. They're full of refined sugars. There's nothing healthy in them for you. They don't do any good for your body whatsoever. Yeah, I'll agree. Sometimes they taste great, but they have no nutritional value at all. The second one, R, is refined sugar. And Americans eat a lot of that. It's a lot in hidden foods, and of course we like our donuts and cakes and cookies. The third letter A is artificial colors. And again, a lot of the food that we eat in this culture contain many of those. And of course, processed products, things that are made in a plant. They're not part of a plant that you grow outside, they're made in a plant. So CRAP, crap foods, those are the ones that you can ask yourself when you leave here today and you go back to your pantry and just take a look at what you're choosing to eat. So these crap foods, they're what's known in Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga when we look at food and nutrition. They're what's called empty foods. So you put them in your body and they really don't have any benefit. They're just sort of empty. They're just a food that you put in and your body has to work hard to digest and metabolize and get rid of. They don't have a lot of benefit. And also, they deplete our wellness. They're not adding to our well-being and our health. They actually take away from it. So over time, these types of crap foods that are made in plants can cause inflammation in your gut. Okay? So I talk to a lot of people in my private yoga sessions that have a lot of inflammation in their gut, a lot of digestive issues, which can be very hard to deal with on a daily basis. So one of the first things we talk about is really looking at what is the quality of the food that you're putting in your body. So now, okay, probably all of us eat some crap. I know I do sometimes, right? But how do we replace crap with nutrition? So let's go to carbonated beverages first. They have no nutritional value, and they cause obesity and diabetes. Did you know that one serving or one can of regular soda has up to 10 teaspoons of sugar in it? Yeah, that's a lot. If you were to take 10 teaspoons and put it in a bowl, that's how much you're drinking in one soda. And then, well, maybe there's diet soda. Diet, right? It's got to be good for you. That's what culture tells us. Diet sodas are full of aspartame, and they're actually linked to a lot of our health problems, like tumors and cancers and things like that. So if it's, again, something that you find that you're doing regularly, think twice about carbonated beverages. Well, what do you drink instead? Right? There's lots of good choices. First one, water. Water's super important for so many reasons. And if you have trouble sort of drinking enough water throughout the day, of course, get yourself some sort of, measuring water bottle or something so you can actually look at how much you're drinking. It's very, very important to keep track of that. Coffee is another one. We'll talk a little bit more about coffee. Teas. And there's tons of teas out there. My goodness, if you go to the grocery store, there's walls of things to choose from. And then the other thing, of course, you can drink is alcohol. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So back to water. We all know that it's essential. But did you know that 70% of your weight, of your body, of this body that you live in, is made up of water? That's how important it is. So again, after you leave today, really take a specific look at not only since you've been up this morning, but the past few days, how much water do you think you've actually drank? A lot of people think they're drinking more than they actually are. So the thing about water is it helps absorb the nutrients that we get from our food. If we don't have the water to go along with it, the body has to work harder to absorb those nutrients. Of course, it moistens everything, and I talk a lot about that in my yoga classes where we study fascia, which is the connective tissue, the tissue that basically holds us together. And when we're not having enough water, the fascia itself becomes dehydrated, and then it's harder to move. any yoga that you do, any sport that you do, it's all going to be harder. And we start moving like we're, 85 years old. We don't really need to. What we need to do is hydrate those connective tissues that allow us to move with freedom. Water regulates your body temperature. Did you know that? It's fascinating. And of course, it flushes out all the waste products. So not only on a cellular level, but we want to make sure we get enough water and fiber in our diet to get rid of the things that our body doesn't need on a daily basis. So water, super important, absolutely essential. And again, if we come back to looking at water from an Ayurvedic perspective, of course we drink a lot of teas that are sort of medicinal in Ayurveda, but also when it comes to drinking water to aid in digestion, it's said in Ayurveda that we should drink warm or room temperature water. It's harder on the body and the digestive system if we put cold water right into the body, because we're 98.6 in there, and then we blast it with something, especially if it's iced, and that makes digestion a lot harder. So think about when you will return to your favorite restaurant, and you will, they'll probably come over with a big glass of ice water, and you can drink it, but maybe you want to try just water with no ice, please. Or in the winter or fall months, I just ask for hot water with lemon. So thinking about those choices as well. And also, drinking half as much as you weigh. So, just take that number and then, again, find something in your kitchen where you can actually measure that out. Pour it into something and then work on it all day long. It's better to drink water throughout the day rather than just gulping down 2 or 3 big glasses of water unless you're really thirsty. Okay, coffee. Coffee is such an American thing, isn't it? Actually, you go pretty much everywhere in the world. Everywhere I've been, they've had coffee, but it certainly is one of our favorite things to drink. And coffee is actually good for you in moderate amounts. It's loaded with antioxidants and nutrients. But of course, we have to drink it in moderation. So it boosts your memory, and it says that it enhances your exercise performance. I don't know. I actually haven't done that research or read on, there's mixed feelings about coffee, but what it seems to come back to is that it has a lot of benefits because it's a natural substance, right? It comes from a bean. It's plant. It's not made in a plant. And it has antioxidants and things that are actually really good for you in small amounts. Of course, the thing we have to be careful of is what we're putting in our coffee. If you like it sweet and creamy, maybe you're loading it up with high-fat creams and refined sugars, then of course that's going to negate all of the health benefits that's in the natural bean of the coffee. It said too that it increases your dopamine, which is our feel-good hormone. So maybe that's why we go for it every morning, right? First cup of coffee always tastes nice. I like to drink what's called cocoa coffee. So no, it's not a sweet, chocolatey, creamy coffee. Really all it is an organic bean that I've gotten roasted. I grind it fresh in the mornings, and I make myself 1 cup. I don't make a pot of coffee because then of course I'd be tempted to drink more, but I make myself 1 cup of coffee. Personally, I drink decaffeinated coffee because I don't like the effects of caffeine on my body, but that's a very personal choice. And then for cocoa coffee, I just add a teaspoon of coconut oil. And that may sound like, ugh, those oils in coffee, but coconut oil is a little different from like olive oil. When you stir it in, it actually breaks up. And it helps with digestion. It helps if you are kind of a dry, like sometimes my skin gets dry or my hair gets dry. So it's nice to incorporate those healthy oils in the coffee itself. Tea. Tea comes from a plant. And like I said earlier, there are so many different types of leaves and herbs and things that we can make our tea out of. So just think about how versatile it can be. Hot, cold, tons of different flavors and ways to make it. And, you know, I've always found it interesting, the difference between like a coffee shop and a tea shop. If you go into a coffee shop, especially a place like a big branded name like Starbucks, where there's, you know, lots and lots of stuff going on and people are rushing through and they're ordering online and running in and out, and or if you're at a cafe in Europe, you know, some people just run up to the bar and they order an espresso and they chug it down and off they go, right? Coffee's got that sort of uplifting kind of let's get on with it energy, where tea is more about, I'm just going to hold this nice teacup and feel the warmth of it and relax with my cup of tea, right? It's got kind of a different energetic feel about it. It can. So next time you're out and about, if you go to a coffee or tea shop, just notice the energy when you walk into the room. Tea can be, every time you make it, it can be a time to help yourself relax. And what I like to do, actually I do this with my coffee too, but when things are brewing, like if you put a bag in a hot cup of water, and by the way, for tea to be proper, you have to pour boiling water on it. I learned that when I lived in England. Anyway, when you're waiting for that tea to steep, just take a few deep breaths. Just stand on your feet, or if you're sitting, just take that time to come inside and be aware of how you're feeling, how you're breathing. And then, of course, alcohol. Alcohol in moderation. Right? They say that 4 ounces of a red wine is really good for you, but anything more than that is not so great for you. So for a while, I enjoy wine. For a while, what I would do is actually measure out 4 ounces on a wine glass, and I put a marker around it so I wouldn't fill it any farther than that. Because a lot of times you're drinking probably 8 or 9 ounces and you don't really know it. But alcohol can, again, have benefits if you drink it in moderation. Okay, on to R of the CRAP acronym, right? Refined sugar. Again, refined sugar is empty calories. It's like that soda. You just put it in your body has to deal with it. It has to metabolize it, digest it, do something with it, but it's not getting any nutritional value. So it takes your body's energy to process it, and it's taking away the nutrients that you need to stay healthy. If you are going to enjoy sugar, fruit sugar is preferred because it comes with nutrients and the vitamins and the minerals of the fruit. So you're not just putting empty calories into your body, empty food into your body. You're actually adding those vitamins, those nutrients, the fiber that fruit gives. And a lot of Americans crave sugar. And that is because there's so much sugar in processed foods that we don't realize that we're eating. So if you're a sweet tooth, if you have a sweet tooth and you're craving sugar all the time, just be aware of that. That's the very first step, right? And then try to get extra protein in your diet. So half of your weight should be how many grams of protein you eat per day. Wow. So at 140 pounds, can you add up everything that you're eating and hopefully come up with 70 grams of protein for your body in that one day? So again, it takes awareness. It takes getting off of automatic pilot and just reaching for what you normally get, and taking some time to really think about these things. If I eat more protein, if I try this for 3 or 4 days, maybe my sugar cravings will be less. They probably will. So eat more things like eggs and fish, nuts, lean meats, seeds, and protein powder. If you get a good quality whey protein powder, you can put that in foods like oatmeal or make a protein shake and get more protein that way. And so what I'd like you to do when we're done here in just a few minutes is to go and check your pantry and look at what refined sugars you are eating, that you know you're eating, and then pick up something with a label on it that's been made in a plant, and look, you're probably going to find sugar on that label. And lastly, with sugar, honey is a nice alternative. You can get a nice local honey for a little bit of sweet. All right, on to A. Artificial colors. 1.5 million pounds of petroleum-based dyes are used in processed food each year. Ugh, doesn't sound so good. And of course, all of these artificial colors and dyes are linked to different diseases. Why eat them, right? So we do want to eat color. Of course, it's appealing to the eye, but we want a rainbow of colors and natural foods. And boy, the next time you walk into your grocery store, again, take a moment, just stop where you're at and look at the produce section. It's full of color, beautiful colors. Outdoor markets, beautiful. So you want to eat the rainbows, right? You want to eat the fruits and the vegetables because those colored foods have vitamins and minerals in them. Now your body needs 13 different vitamins and several minerals. Minerals come in macro minerals and trace minerals, and our bodies are designed to extract those vitamins and minerals from real food. It doesn't know how to extract vitamins and minerals from processed food. And then what about supplements? That's an ongoing discussion that I get that question a lot, and I really don't have the answer. But what I do believe is that if you're aware of what you're putting in your body and you're getting a high density vitamin, mineral food every day with healthy water, then you're probably fine without supplements. But that's a question for your doctor. Maybe you need a specific supplement, based on exams or tests that they do. So that's a very individual thing. Now, our soil, unfortunately, in the U.S. can be depleted. So buying organic, if you can help because the soil is tended to more, and of course they don't spray any sort of chemicals, pesticides, additives on the food that you're buying. And then the last thing about that is go online and look up the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is an annual list of 12 foods that contain the most pesticides. So you want to stay away from those as much as you can. All right, last but not least, thinking about processed products. So it's been so easy to replace processed foods or real foods with processed foods. It's so easy, isn't it? To take something out of the freezer, let's say, take it out of the box and throw it in the microwave. But one way to really sort of think about this is how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How does your skin look? How does your hair look naturally? How are you feeling internally, and how are you looking externally? Again, that's a way of monitoring our health, and your body will tell you. So check in. What's your energy level? How do you feel and look? But also think about what your grandmother ate. Yeah? And maybe you have to go back a few more generations, like your great-grandmother, especially if you're younger listening to this. Because, my great-grandmother never did anything from a box. Everything was fresh and simple, not fancy, but fresh, real food. So what I would recommend is really to think more specifically about yourself in this, keeping a food journal for a few days and just really paying close attention to what you're actually eating. And then when you sit down to eat, do it from an awareness perspective. Sit down, take a few breaths, arrive there, let everything go. Of course, it's not like you have to eat in silence. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you're with your family or Can you get rid of any sort of screen in front of you, any distraction that takes you away from what you're eating, how much you're eating, how fast you're eating, right? Like I said at the beginning, eating is necessary. Hopefully it's enjoyable. So it's a chance every day to practice awareness. And that's really what I'm hoping to offer as a yoga and meditation teacher at the club, is different ways just in our daily lives to increase our awareness so we feel the best we can in this human body. So that's all I really have to say for the digest portion of our Wellness Wednesday. If you join me here next week at 10:30, then we will be talking about movement. Okay, of course, movement, as we know, is very important, and I'm just going to talk briefly about the different kinds of movement and ways that you can make sure that you're getting different types of movement into your week. So I hope you can join me next Wednesday. I hope that this little chat on digestion and food was helpful for you, and I wish you well and good health, and hopefully you can get outside and enjoy this beautiful day. All right. Bye.